person being educated in an area that is needed, or that is that addresses the employment situation in Botswana, instead of a young person staying at home, roaming the streets, or doing nothing.
This one, when we began, obviously we had the benefit of a presentation whereby we were informed of the opportunities that are out there through the Raul Vides presentation. He had a number of things, what they do, how we can take advantage of that, and that education is one of the things that is a priority from the perspective of the government. And therefore, they can be able to assist should we believe that MIT has a place. They can assist in terms of identifying land, and that perhaps there might also be opportunity to find investors where they could be interested. They can introduce us to investors, MIT to investors who might be willing to partner with the institute. So I think that's very, very important, because dreaming is one thing, reality is another.
Yes.
And I think what that presentation, basically what we take from that is that, yes, dream, but understand that there are needs, and these are the areas where there is need. We know how he explained the various sectors within the economy where technical skills might be required, or even people with good skills in the service areas. So that I think is very, very important. But then, my presentation will be very structured in the way that it was in the morning. I'm going to talk about an issue and talk about related things. Clearly, the issue of relevance comes in. One thing that again came as a key success factor is that if this institute is going to be successful, first it must make sure it positions itself to be always relevant to the needs of the market. Okay, not just in terms of what the kids do in the classroom, but in terms of what the user requires. And the user is not just the student, the user is the market, the corporate world out there. So that is a very important point that came through this morning, and we all agree on that. The other thing is that came about is that this concept, as Masaka's presentation made it clear, appears to be some gaps in the market, and therefore there's a niche that MIT could tap on here and utilize to get to where it needs to be. But part of discussions seems to hinge on some of the government problems. And there was a caution that a model like that might not necessarily be sustainable. It has to be positioned in such a way that as we move forward and the government scales down on whatever subsidies it may be providing to citizens, it can run on its own. And therefore the idea that it must be an institute that actually serves the needs of not just Botswana, but regionally and ultimately internationally. So it's the scope of what it does must be defined in such a way that it can grow from a local institute to an international institute. Okay. Because the strategies will have to be mapped out as to how.
design is to say, if I'm going to run specialized courses, I'll run them in conjunction with the suppliers. For example, if you're going to do Microsoft certification or Cisco certification, and this man is a specialist in that, I presume, maybe Cisco could lend a name, you know, that we as Cisco are developing this, we've approved this curriculum, and this curriculum will be useful to us. Because as he says, in Cisco, Microsoft world, Google world, you don't need a degree. If you've got a degree, they'll put you in research. You know, the real one is, I mean, I was surprised about 10, 15 years when I came to know this. They prefer certification. That's what they need.
I really believe MIT symbolizes at this point a yearning, a vision for a better tomorrow for the young people of Botswana and for a greater place for the economy of Botswana.
I see it as linking the skills that are required by the industry and the skills, you know, that are provided, you know, from the technical schools. Therefore, it's if it's able to identify the niche, you know, skills that are required, particularly by the newer, you know, sectors that are coming, the, you know, tourism sector, the, you know, automotive, you know, sector, and, you know, other sectors, you know, that are being promoted, then it plays a critical role in the development of the economy.
Sometimes I have seen number of students, they were from Botswana in Malaysia. When they come back as a zero. What I'm saying is a zero. One thing is that they never take interest. I was there, I have seen them, they never take interest. Because they were sponsored and they were having money, so they never take interest what they should do. The second thing is, they were trained according to that country, according to the demand of that country. That is why people are blaming that, oh, this doctor is very good from Botswana, he's not coming back. Why should he come back? He is using the laparoscopic, he is using the modern equipments and the things, he's trained according to that. That is why he's seldom come. So my emphasis is that rather than sending them over there, we should have or provide the same courses according to the, to give a little bit, I can say a touch according to the demand. As we are saying that democracy is according to the country. We can't implement the democracy of America in other countries. So democracy should be according to the country. So that is one of my requests would be that we can merge the courses accordingly.
I think MIT comes at a critical time in our development. For some time, as a country, we've been talking about the mismatch in the skills that come out of the universities and colleges and the skills that are required by industry. Given that it will be a technical, you know, college, I see it, you know, bridging that skills gap by offering, you know, courses that are relevant to the industries that we are currently promoting. And therefore I see it, you know, really coming at the right time, providing the right kind of education and assisting in providing the right skills for the different sectors that we are promoting.
It symbolizes excellence. To me, when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about excellence, which means that you know, I like to put it this way. They say the only standards worth sharing are the higher standards. So it means higher standards.
It symbolizes the future. It speaks of hope to a young person, to every young person, the top achievers and the ones that do not make it. It is an opportunity that even a person who doesn't do that well academically has hope that they can do something meaningful with that other talents to be able to contribute. Therefore, we're not only looking for those who are academically sound, but we are looking for everybody who has the drive and the passion to make a difference in an economy.
I believe that MIT could offer to bridge a gap, or what I consider a gaping gap, in the economic development of Botswana. And that is to be able to build a cadre of industry-ready employees who can work, and at the same time, people who can create jobs within the economy itself. That is one very critical thing that is lacking within this economy, and it can help Botswana.